Hi, this is Pat Grady with Embellishing Bliss. Welcome to week 6 of Navigate the Journey. I can't believe it. We're already at the end of this course. And I don't know about you, but I have learned so much in the past 6 weeks. I have really gained some insight in areas that I really didn't even anticipate. One of the people in the course had mentioned that she's really not necessarily spent a ton of time in her journal, but in her mind she has spent a great deal of time thinking about when she can, and she makes her journal pages that they're going to be beautiful. And I just love the idea that inner journey can happen, whether it physically does on the pages or if it's just in your own mind. I think both are very, very valuable tools. This last week we are going to focus on Navigate, and Navigate is really the culmination of everything. It's taking what we learned in the very first week with anticipation and how we anticipate what it is that we want to do in our life, and building up to it, getting the excitement going so that it's something that you really want to do. Week 2 was release, letting go of some of the things in our life that no longer have meaning, or that we just need to be free of, to set free, to go on to the next area. The third week was reclaim, finding those things in our life that really do have meaning for us and figuring out a way to bring them back into our life, but not keeping them exactly the way they were, but the essence of it, and then transforming whatever it was that we reclaimed so that it is not the same as it used to be, that it is changed, that it is then renewed, so that it is exciting, it's new, it's going on to the next stage of our life. I want to give you an illustration. If you were on the conference call this past week, or if you've listened to the replay, I talked quite a bit about a quilt that I was going to be making. And you may have noticed that my background is a little bit different today. Instead of just my Embellishing Bliss sign, I've actually put up the top of the quilt that I've been working on. And the quilt is for a woman. Actually, a woman passed away, and she was a dog lover. And this quilt is being made by a friend for this woman's husband. And so I, don't know these people, but I sort of feel like I do since I've been working on this quilt. And so I want to give you kind of the steps by using the quilt as an example of what we've done in the past 6 weeks. Now, I learned about this project probably 3 weeks ago, and I actually got the t-shirts. And I had 21 t-shirts in order to build this, make this quilt. And there are fun ones like Crazy Dog Lady, You Had Me at Woof, and then this was Nancy Jean. She had her own dog walking pet sitting service. So I found this fabric, and it may be a little hard for you to tell, but it actually has pictures of all different dogs on it, and it's a very soft fabric, and that's what the whole back of the quilt was going to be. So the first part was the anticipation of what this was going to look like. And then once I decided kind of the layout or the plan of it, the next piece was being willing to release them as t-shirts so that I could cut them up so they're no longer going to be worn by someone. But then I was reclaiming all of these things that had special meaning to Nancy Jean and will be having special meaning for her husband as well. So first the anticipation, then releasing them as t-shirts, reclaiming the special meaning behind them, and then the transformation process. And that transformation was actually physically cutting them up, designing this quilt, and we're not quite at the renew stage. I still have to put the batting behind this and do the machine quilting and have the back on it. But I'm feeling very pleased with the way that it looks, and I'm hoping that it's going to be special for this woman's husband, as it's something that reminds him of his wife, but is a positive feeling for him, something that he will feel renewed, that he can move on with his life. So this gives you kind of a physical example of how you can use what we've learned the last 6 weeks. This last week is about navigate the journey. So it's helping you to figure out how do you use all these different stages, and that you could be on several journeys all at one time. You know, depending on what you're doing. On an inner journey, you may only be at you know, the anticipation stage, but on another part of your life, you may be in the transformation stage. Just so you realize that you could be at different stages on different journeys all at the same time. If at any time, you know, you have questions, feel free to send me an email. I'd be happy to talk with you. The YouTube videos will stay up for a while, probably at least a couple of months. Then you have all of the replays of the conference calls that you can look back on, so that if any time you want to review some of these things that we've gone over and you've not necessarily had as much time as you wanted to right now, that you still have the opportunity to do that. And then of course you'll have the emails with all of the home play from each of the weeks. One of the things that I mentioned last week after I painted the cover of my journal is I was going to show you how to go ahead and put a closure on your book. So I'm going to show you that piece right now. On my book, this is it from last week. It's dried. I haven't had any time this week to spend more time on it, but what I've done is I've made a couple of marks here where I'm going to put my button. And I've got this little gadget, which is called a crocodile, and you can get that at Joann Fabrics. Carries them, and it has a place, it really will punch holes through some really thick material, because this cover is pretty heavy. But I'm going to punch 2 small holes. There's 2 ends on this. This one is a smaller hole, this is a larger hole. I'm using the smaller hole, and I'm punching 2 holes that are about 1/4 of an inch apart. And I've got the 2 holes. I've got a button that is called a shank button. That means that it has the holes go through the back like this. I've put a piece of wire on it. The wire will then fit through the holes like this. And then I'll simply, on the back side of this, I'm going to just twist the wire so it stays secure. And then I'm going to just take a wire cutter. I'll snip this wire off, and then I can take it and actually, so that this wire doesn't poke anything, bend it back down and put it into this hole again so that it doesn't poke. And then the other thing you can do, if that's an issue, is to put a piece of tape, like this clear tape, over top of it so it secures it in place. Okay, so now you have the button. Then on the back side of this, you can see I have a lot of papers in here that it's starting to get pretty full. Now I'm going to use the bigger end, and I'm going to punch a hole in the back that lines up with the button. Then I have, this is just a little elastic, like a hairband, and I'm going to just push this through the hole. Maybe I'm going to push this through the hole. I should have had a little, here, I'll use the piece of wire, or the other thing that works pretty well would be a tweezers. But I've got this poked. I'm putting this through like this so that I can reach the other side. Okay, Then once I have it, you can twist it a little bit, and then I've got a pliers to pull the end here. Okay, so once I've slipped this through, then I just need to pull that elastic so it's secure. And then I just bring it around like this, and it holds my book post. So it's just a real simple way to keep your book, all the pages inside, so it's not falling apart. Okay. It's been great having this course with you. I've really enjoyed it. I'd love feedback from you, any ways that you think that I could improve the class in the future. As you all know, this was my very first online class. I've learned a great deal. I'm hoping that you have as well, and I'd love to continue to hear from you. We will have our very last conference call will be this Thursday. Actually, I think it's Valentine's Day, and that will be from noon to 1 o'clock Central Time. I will be sending you an email that you'll receive as a reminder with all of the information, and you will get your home play for the week. It's been a great 6 weeks journey with you, and I hope you have a great week.